Hey guys, this is Bombarta's Tips and Tricks Part 3 and Part 4. Just a little bit of a thing you can do to help yourself with the helping hands. This is my temporary board, which I've got them taped down on so they don't move around and fall over when there's heavy items in them. This is being used indoors at the moment because my shed, my workshop, is out of commission while it's being renovated. It's a complete mess up there and I can't do any of this stuff up there, so electronics installs are strictly indoors at the moment. As you know, when you have your helping hands, you've got teeth, metal teeth in them. If you want to hold your electronics boards, you've got to be very, very careful where you're holding them. Not only that, if you want to hold wires in them, they can pinch into the wires and kink your wire sometimes. So what you want to do is use heat shrink. Basically, get your heat shrink, slide it on, use your shrink gun or your soldering iron and shrink them into place, and that way the teeth don't do so much damage when they grip items that you might not want to get marks or pinches on. That's tip number 3. And tip number 4 is don't throw away your offcuts of wire. Any of your wire, when you're working with it, you get offcuts of it, you're always going to get offcuts. Keep them, because you never know when you might need a small piece of wire and you don't have to cut it off your reel. You've already got small spare parts, small spare pieces of wire that you can use for specific lengths and distances. The other thing is these. Where is it? There it is. These pieces of wire, what these are offcuts from accent LEDs. Obviously you don't need all of that when you use an LED. You cut them off up quite close to the base of the LED when you solder the wires on. But these come in really handy because you can cut them down in size and basically, there's another one. Basically you can use them to bridge joints, like say the SMD resistor pads for instance. You can use them to bridge the pads on the SMD resistors for the data line on the Collector Labs boards, if you're going to use the external resistor on the data line for the NeoPixel. So you can use a offcut of that to bridge those two pads. If you're not very confident at drawing solder across from one pad to another, then you could use that on that pad for instance, and you're only going to need a tiny little dab of solder on both pads. The other thing you can do is bridge the two earths together on an auxiliary and power button as they share the same ground, so you can bridge the two together using that from one button to another button if they're in close proximity to each other. For instance, on my JSK sabers, I'll just quickly show you. My JSK sabers, the buttons are there, so the pads, the auxiliary and power buttons are next to each other, so you can bridge the two ground on them with one of those sections of wire to save on running an extra wire up to the auxiliary. Obviously just basically keep anything like keep your JST. You just never know when you might need something like this There's offcut from NeoPixel. Probably not going to use it, but you never know. Could get used. So yeah. So anyway, that's tip number 3 and tip number 4. Thanks for watching.